I mean, honestly, this kind of has a vibe. Type 1 if you agree. Tater tot. Hey, I'll tell you what, how about this? This is some good news. Oh, wait a minute. I got the wrong date listed at the top. So ignore the date at the top. It's 2025. But it is in 60 days until we get to the autumnal equinox. Oh, my favorite season of the year, despite what everyone thinks. It is fall. Hello, everyone. I'm wave meteorologist Brian Goode. Welcome to the blog today at 52 minutes after 9 o'clock. Hello, everyone. A lot of folks on YouTube. All right. Thank you, Carrie, for being in here, as well as Tater Todd. Hello, Angela, Dale, Morgan, Blue. Who was first? Crispy, I think you were first today, right? It's always a battle for the YouTubers because they get a heads up that I'm about to go live. They always battle to see who's going to comment first. Carrie usually wins, to be honest. But I want you guys to, we'll see who's first tomorrow. But I love how competitive it can get. Facebook's always a little slow to get notified, but you guys eventually arrive, so I appreciate y'all being here. Couple of big things. Obviously, I'm sure you guys heard the big news thing today, right, about the Kentucky Oaks. I don't know what that means for us and our coverage yet, but I know that Kentucky Oaks from NBC announced they're moving it to prime time this next year coming up for Derby and Oaks and Derby. 152, it'll be at 8 p.m. for the Oaks. The Derby, I don't think is changing, but the Oaks will be. So that's a bit of a huge change, actually, from what we're used to seeing. All right, but weather-wise, the big story, of course, is the heat. I don't think it's anything too excessive, though. I mean, yesterday we only hit 90, actually, for a high. Heat index was in the mid-90s. It was certainly a little hotter to the southwest side of the metro, but overall, I think we're now on the other side of the coin, unfortunately, where now the heat will become a little bit more of a bigger ordeal when it comes to the heat index, so kind of be aware of that as we evolve through time here. All right, let me show you a live look at the hazy sky. This is going to be in downtown Louisville, looking from atop of the Waterfront Plaza. Yeah, hazy again. No air quality alert today. There should be just enough what we call it mixing, or at least stirring in the atmosphere, to prevent a lot of the pollutants to build up. It still will be hazy outside. It's just not as much of an issue. When I left yesterday, I know we had a couple of sensors that reached that air quality status into the moderate category, especially on the western side of Jefferson County. I noticed that was starting to uptick just a bit more. So anyway, we may get more of those too, especially next week when we get more into the heat dome. But the big story, of course, has been the heat. Let me show you the latest numbers. Right now we're at 82, but on a steady climb. Usually if you get it to about 85, 86 at 10 a.m., which is likely to happen, then you're on track to get to 90 by noon, and then of course mid-90s this afternoon. Now the issue today, remember all week we've been talking about this, is this moisture plume is tilting today, and now it's right along southern Indiana and back into far west Kentucky. And because it's there, that's going to allow for at least a few spotty showers and thunderstorms for today. Spotty being key. Right now, look at the satellite. Okay, you can tell the moisture plume has definitely changed. Right there, look at the cumulus. It already got some downpours. We'll look at that a little more in a second. But there are also some agitated cumulus clouds into the bluegrass area of Kentucky. But there's just enough moisture overall across really I-64 and north that downpours can react to that. And we're off to an early start. We saw this yesterday. There was a hint there would be an early start, a lunchtime, early afternoon period where showers will begin to pop. They are starting to do that. Not exactly in the placement the models said they would be, but that's to be expected. It's not going to get them right. We just know that the atmosphere can handle downpours early and again late. The ones I think for Louisville will likely be late. It may take a while to build up the heat, and then it'll be too much, and the thunderstorms maybe start to pop in the heat island effect. As I mentioned yesterday, because of the flow, again, it's going to be Oldham County, part of Clark, Eastern Jefferson, Shelby, I would even throw into there, at risk for the heat island effect of thunderstorms today, a little bit downwind from the city. So if you're in that area right now, and a lot of you are, you're in that spot where you could get a thunderstorm later this afternoon. So let's get rid of the clouds and just focus on where we got some showers. This is really the, well, it's not the area I want to watch. Let's go with this. There we go. Let's scoot over there. You can see some of those begin to pop. This is almost the northern side of that moisture plume. There's kind of a two different spoke look to it. I'll show you that too. But right now, just north of Jasper and near Lawrence County, Indiana, some showers moving on by. I think I have the lightning indicator on. Yeah, I do. So there's no lightning with these, but they're mainly just showers. They will get lightning at times when later on today. Let me show you that moisture plume across the Ohio Valley. And again, you can see how it's flowing right into our area, right across central Kentucky and southern Indiana. This is, again, a separate piece than the front is. You can see the front easily dropping down from Iowa and northern Illinois. That should arrive here this weekend, at least into our northern counties this weekend. And if you're south of it, unfortunately, the air is going to be too warm above our heads in a lot of areas to where a lot of these thunderstorms will fire in Indiana, but they will run into that, what they call it, just a more not unfavorable environment for them to survive. So they just kind of dissipate as they try to push southward because the heat dome is just too intense for it. It's not a good mix for a thunderstorm to survive. So that's the reason why you got to be close to the front to get thunderstorms this weekend. And the front does not come through here. There's no sign of that. It just gets close to it. I think I-70 may be its limit. So anywhere in this zone will be the focal point for showers and thunderstorms this weekend. And by Sunday, as we've talked about before, there's a little bit more of a tilt to it, more like this, that happens on Sunday. So that's the zone to watch on Sunday. So this front kind of wobbles around like a seesaw a bit. But if you're traveling north, you'll run right into it. If you're traveling south, you'll be just fine. I mean, it's going to be hot. In fact, all the alerts are still out for the heat today, and the extreme heat warning still into the Mississippi area, flowing all the way up into Illinois. Our heat advisory expires at 8 p.m. tonight. Covers a good chunk of the area, and it really just is matching that moisture plume you saw there that was moving in. And it's right there along the Louisville area, and that's the reason why there's no heat advisory out here, is it's not quite to that level yet. They've got yesterday's weather in eastern Kentucky that we had, so not as intense. But having said that, the Weather Service, as of now, they're not going to extend the heat advisories out for the weekend. Criteria is 105 for 3 hours or more. However, if you have multiple days of 100 or more, it also tends to qualify. So they may change their mind. We'll see what the Weather Service does. I've seen in June, that's how they treated it. For this particular heat wave, apparently that's not the plan, but I think it will change. I don't want you to get too caught up on the heat alerts, though. I think you guys are aware it's hot. And I think you guys are aware that you need to take precautions, right? So you guys are smart. I get that. The only change that you just need to be aware of would be an extreme heat warning if that were to come out. And that may come out next week. If you see that alert, treat that a little differently. That's where you really just don't want to be outside. Even if you're healthy, it will affect you. You don't want to run. You don't want to be outside for a long period of time. That is possible next week. I don't see us getting to that level at all this weekend. So I see the argument that they have for, taking the alerts out for the weekend, but it still will be hot. All right, so how is this all going to play out? Here's the storyline in the short term. I'll get some of your questions too before I get into the long term. But in the short term, you can see we've got just a few thunderstorms that'll fire up. This is the in-house model. Yeah, it hints at it. Right around 3 o'clock is when it's trying to form some of these downpours around Louisville. Still reaching the mid-90s, and then we drop into the 80s briefly before that boundary lifts northbound just a bit more and then collides a bit more with the front. This is the front now that's starting to show up right there. Tomorrow will be another very similar day today. Hot, isolated storms in the afternoon. Otherwise, heat index 100 to 105. Not a lot is going to change here, and this will continue to repeat itself all the way into the weekend. In fact, here is Saturday. Same storyline, mid-90s, and a few more clusters of thunderstorms kind of pop here and there, but it will be focused a little more north and very random. This is more what we call orographic thunderstorms because the mountains does tend to lead to some development, but not a washout of a weekend. But I just want you guys to be aware. I mean, if you get a thunderstorm, because it is going to be so hot and humid, these thunderstorms are going to have a punch to them. I mean, they're going to have a lot of lightning. We've already seen a lot of lightning strikes this season, right? more of that will happen. A lot of cloud-to-ground lightning strikes, the type that crackle probably before you even see it. I mean, it's just that type of lightning. So be aware of that, and very heavy rainfall. And they're not going to move very much. They're going to be very slow. So there could be some isolated cases of flash flooding still this week. You know, we've had a little bit of dry time. These rainfall rates will be pretty decent. So not all areas are going to get it. So we can't really go much higher than a 20 or 30% on the rain chance. It's just not going to be that widespread. All right, what questions can I get to for you all? Hi, ZK. Sunday morning until 2 o'clock. I don't have that model all the way out. Well, actually, we play that. I can go to 11 or right at midnight. It's when the model stops. But Sunday morning, just like really the next couple mornings would be fairly quiet. It's just the heat of the afternoon you got to be aware. So really after 2 o'clock, you'll run into more of a thunderstorm chance on Sunday. Now, after we get past Sunday afternoon, we do have a chance to get into some MCS action where these thunderstorms, these complexes try to dive in. I think our first potential will be Sunday night, but that's probably going to be late into early Monday. But be weather aware of that. I'll cover that in a second. But ZK, I think overall for your window of time, right now, I do not see anything overly alarming. What'd you say, Tanya? Can we just fast forward to fall? I'm already over it, yeah. 60 days. Hey, that'll fly by. I mean, come on. I mean, we were just, you know, shoveling snow in January. Doesn't seem that long ago, to be honest. I mean, it has been a wild year. Oh, got a spammer. No, hold on one second. Let me take care of that real quick. We haven't had a spammer in a while, right? All right. Boom, you're gone. See you later. Have a good day. All right. Let's see. Jacob, still over in Litchfield. Hello, Jacob. What'd you say, Adam? I got hit in the face with a big raindrop. Glad it wasn't what I thought it was. Yeah, be careful out there, Adam. Gotta be careful. They're flying around. Oh, that's why I had the radar on Louisville. Let me replay that. I had it zoomed in on Louisville because of a roosterine that showed up, and you're like, roosterine? Let me back the radar all the way up. Oh, is it still in view? Let's see. No, it's out of view now. Hold on, let me change the hours. Maybe I can capture it now. There it is. Right there, look at that. And you're like, what is a roosterine? These are the purple martins. When I did Sunrise for 7 years, that was something I had on the show every year in the morning. Was the right at sunrise, they take off. Isn't nature amazing? But they show up right there, and boom, there they go. Lift up in the air, and the radar detects them every time. So the radar is pretty sensitive on that kind of stuff. But I thought that was kind of cool that that showed up this morning. Everyone good? I think everyone's okay. Michelle, wave day at the fair is the 19th of August, Tuesday the 19th. Shonda, you're late to the party. It's all right. You're fine. You're fine. I'm just rambling. Jeremy, any big changes coming? Okay, so let's get to that. Let's get into how things are going to play out for next week. Let me get right into the modeling. As I mentioned, as we head into the latter half of the weekend and early next week, the heat still an issue, but we got to watch for these complex of storms that will try to dive down on the ring of fire. But the biggest challenge we've got really is how early next week is going to play out, because this ridge is going to really fight back for early next week. And if we don't get any rain, say these thunderstorms miss us this weekend and we don't get any MCSs that dive in, then we've got an issue, because now the ground will dry out. Even some lawns will begin to turn brown. Seems a little odd how wet it's been, but it'll start to happen. With mid-90s on a daily basis, all that moisture that's in the ground and the grass and the trees, it's right now, as I'm talking to you, it is going into the atmosphere, but that's leading to the high heat index today. But eventually it just runs out. There's not enough to grab anymore. It's out of moisture, so things start to dry up and turn brown. Once you do that, now you're talking about the actual temperature starting to go up. Heat index is still an issue, but not as high as what the actual temperature would be. And now you can actually get up there into the upper 90s. And we did this last year, but we also entered a drought at the end of August. It was state fair time. Late August, early September, we hit 102 for a couple of days last summer. You may not remember that, but we did cross 100 last summer. But you got to have a really dry ground to get to that level. I don't know if I don't see us getting to that type of heat, but upper 90s are potentially on the table here. And a lot of the data is still flirting with 100, to be honest with you. We're going to go upper 90s for now, but if we miss out on these thunderstorms, I think we're going to have to take that 10-day. We're going to have to nudge it up a little closer to 100 degrees. Are you guys ready for that? But again, I don't want to discount these MCSs that can dive down. It's too early to know where they're going to go. And timing and all that, I don't know yet. I know you're want to know that, I want to ask that, but it'll take until this weekend to really know. But that risk will be there. I think certainly Chicago, Kokomo, Indiana, Dayton, Ohio, a little more at risk than we are. But one or two of them could get real close to us. As far as the weekend rain chance, other than the spotty thunderstorms, if you are in Indiana and up 71, you'll be closer to the front than, say, Columbia will be. So your rain chance is going to be a little higher. We're going to try to uptick your rain chance potential just a little bit higher than the rest of us for those of you in Indiana and up 71 because of that. But for everyone else, quite low. All right, so the heat dome, that's the big story for next week. When I see you guys, I'll be here on Sunrise actually on Monday. But we'll be talking about upper 90s coming our way. But then, to Jeremy's point, what about a change? Well, the dip is still there, arriving at some point Thursday or Friday. Some wiggle room on that still. But as it dives in, showers and thunderstorms will likely accompany that front, obviously. And this is a dip that we saw for the entire winter. I mean, it's near exact weather pattern as far as the storyline goes that we had in January. It's remarkable that it's still happening. It's still an issue left over from the winter pattern. It's been a remarkable 6 months here. It's going to be quite interesting to see how this plays out for the fall and the winter for sure. But in general, this has a dip to it for next weekend. Now, the Euro is a little less aggressive with this. It's trying to only take us to like 88. For a high, I'm going to be optimistic and go with mid-80s. All right, that's something to look forward to. That's still warm. All right, but don't be surprised if it eases a little bit on the dip that happens next weekend. But it's not all bad news. Why? Because there is actually strong support for multiple dips that will be coming our way. Multiple digs of low pressure that kind of curl up here into the northeast to keep diving down. So there is a chance we could get another one for the second week of August. Yesterday it looked like the heat would come back into play, and it may briefly, but there's growing support now that maybe we'll get one or two dips that allow us to have a break from the heat. Could mean some thunderstorms at times, but I think overall, I think this could be a big positive for August. And it will be windier than it has been too. So interesting. In fact, when you look at, and I love this chart, oh boy, it's hard to read, isn't it? This is the Euro, and I apologize. You are probably like, what am I looking at? This is the Euro. These are the highs up here at the top of the screen. These are all the lows. These are all the different model runs that have come out from the Euro. This bottom line is the most recent. And I love looking at this because it gives you a trend. How is the modeling handling the pattern change? And you notice that it started to sniff out the heat that is here now. It started doing that 21 model runs ago. It sniffed out that there would be some heat building. My pen's not working, sorry. Let me try this again. Okay, my pen has given up. All right. All right, whatever. This computer doesn't like me sometimes. But anyway, there it goes. All right, so it started to sniff out the heat at the very beginning there that's here for this weekend. And obviously it's locked onto it, still has it, and now it's expanded it. Started doing that about 4 to 5 model runs ago. It started to sniff out that the heat dome for early next week would be certainly significant. But then it started to hint at the pattern change. And you can see the model runs are kind of varying a little bit. Some were hot, some have been dropping down in the lower 80s, but you don't have the gray, a lot of gray little boxes there. That's a really intense heat. So there is a sign, certainly, that it's coming our way. And even the overnight lows, you can see how they are trending lower and lower into the lower 60s there. So we'll see. We'll see what the model run does today. We'll see what it does tomorrow. And this is the best way, I feel, to really look at a forecast in a long range, is just look at the trend. How are things evolving? Are they trending one way or another? And that really helps. You don't want to get too focused on one model run. You want to kind of just take it slow. All right, hope that makes sense. Let me get right into the 10-day and I'll get to your questions. 95, 95, 95, 96, a couple of 97s. Ouch. Next week, and again, that could go higher. And overnight lows, it's going to be tough to get below 80, and especially in Louisville. And then we'll get into, at some point, thunderstorms will come into play with that front that will drop down, and hopefully that will cool us down and ease our numbers down dramatically in the extended. All right. Any questions? I think you guys are, I mean, type 3 if you're excited. You got to be excited, right? I mean, you guys, this is what you guys want. There's only one or two, I think, that are big fans of heat. Not many of you are. Let's see. Hello, Charles. Welcome aboard. Carla. Yeah, I'll take the double dip. Yeah, I will too. I mean, if this is the way August is going to play out, fine. But it's still all before State Fair time. So I'm still a little worried about the fair. Last year, I mean, we thought we were going to have a pretty easy summer last year, and then all of a sudden, boom. The core of the heat. I mean, we're already near the half of 90-degree days that we had all of last year. We're already approaching halfway, but you got to keep in mind all the 59 days that we had last year were all clustered really in late August and September. So things can change. Things can change, especially with this year. That the whole balance of these dips that are happening and the Arena Fire and the heat dome, that has been like back and forth, kind of just wavering, right? And we just, at times, we're in all three, as you can see here on the 10-day. That basically is how it's playing out. We are in the heat dome, we're in the Arena Fire, and we get into the dip. Hey, that's nice. So at least it's a little more exciting. Nikki's like, I love the heat. All right, Nikki. Some of you do, so I don't want to discount that. I'm not saying it's bad. Everyone has their own flavor. Crispy's like, I hate the heat, but I hate the storms much more. Yeah, we don't want the violent thunderstorms that can drop down those complexes. And again, that wouldn't happen so much this weekend. It's early next week because we're going to be so hot, and these MCS is diving into a very hot environment. I mean, they will, it will be volatile for them. They will not like it. They will weaken rapidly, but the wind part of it could still carry on. So, but right now, again, the cities I outlined are more at risk than we are, but it's too early. It's too early. Hey, Adam, if a 10-day is correct, we could get a dozen 90s in a row. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Could be a long heat wave. Long heat wave. All right. Everyone seems, how Danny, I'll get your question. Is the front given for late next week? Pretty good. I mean, it's about, I would say the odds are at 80% of it moving through here and may even go higher. So that's pretty good odds of getting a front. It will just come in from the north and almost northeast, almost like a backdoor front will. I just don't know the timing yet. GFS, it has been faster on trying to push us in Wednesday, and then Euro likes more Thursday into Friday. So they're all varying a bit. Heat domes like we'll get next week do fight fronts, so that's my only concern in the back of my head is that the front may run into a problem because, as I told you guys before, we were teased with this cool down before, and then as we got closer to it, the ridge fought the front off and fought the dip away from us, so we didn't get it. That's possible. I'm not going to, I mean, it's fair in the pattern that it can happen, but there's much more support for this one than there has been before. So I'm a little more optimistic. Plus, I'm trying to be glass half full today. Trying to be. It's tough in the heat. It's tough. All right, guys, I'm going to run. It's 10:15. Kind of a short block today, but hey, at least you guys get an idea of where we're at in the short term. Take it easy outside, though, if you have outdoor plans. Again, the heat really builds today, and I do think we're going to get some downpours. So watch out for that development. We'll let you know if there's anything that pops. Remember the Wave Weather app. Download it. Even if we don't get severe weather warnings, you're going to get notifications about lightning and heavy rain near your location based on your GPS location. So that is very, very helpful. And the lightning indicator is instant. As soon as that flash happens, your phone goes off. So it's a good tool to have. And if you're going to be outside, please have that close by. Okay, take care, guys. I'm going to run. We'll see you guys coming up on midday at 11 a.m. Stay cool. I'll see you guys coming up tomorrow. Take care.